It never crossed my mind to tell you what happened with my sister. This is a true story, but before I begin, please don't forget to like. My sister was a young, rebellious, and moody girl, like many of her age. I was working near her university, and one day I went to pick her up on my way home. I found her standing and arguing with a fellow student. As soon as she saw me, she stopped, left him, and got into the car with me. She didn't utter a word the entire way. I wanted to ask her what was going on, but decided to wait until she was ready to talk. The next day was a holiday, so I went to her room to chat and ask her about the boy. She was on her computer as usual. I asked her, "What are you up to today? Want to watch a movie together?" She just looked at me and ignored my suggestion. I knew there was an age gap between us, and teenagers are hard to deal with, but I tried my best to befriend her. I asked, "What are you busy with?" She replied, "Nothing much, just browsing the dark web." There's a site where you can ask any question, no matter how illogical or illegal, and you'll get an answer. The people here are very scary because no one can trace them. The dark web is hard to track. I was alarmed by her words and went to see for myself what she was looking at. I was horrified by what I saw. I entered the site she mentioned and found people asking bizarre and disturbing questions. One person asked how to dispose of his mother's body without anyone knowing. I thought he was joking until I saw people giving detailed methods on how to hide the body. I was terrified and closed the site immediately. One day, my sister went to study at a friend's house. I was having lunch with my parents when my mom said, "I'm very worried about your sister. I feel like she's up to something wrong." I asked why she felt that way. She said, "I was cleaning her room yesterday and found very strange things under her bed." I quickly went to my sister's room and looked under the bed. I found a long rope, 4 oddly shaped candles wrapped in a rope like snakes, and half-burnt papers I couldn't read. I thought, that's enough, my sister is out of control, I must intervene. The next day, I went to her university and looked for the boy she had argued with. I asked him why they were fighting. He told me something that shocked me. Lara and I were close friends, but I stopped talking to her because one day she asked me to perform satanic rituals with her that she read about on the dark web. She said these rituals would make us stronger, more powerful, and immortal. But I refused. His words deeply worried me about my sister, and I rushed home to talk to her. When I saw her, her eyes were unnaturally red, and I suspected she had performed those rituals at her friend's house. I called out to her, but she didn't respond and ran to her room, locking the door in my face. "Lara, open the door. I know what you're trying to do. This is dark magic. Don't follow these demons. You'll ruin your life. Open the door now." Instead of opening the door, she screamed, "Mind your own business and stay out of my life. I'm not a child anymore. I'll come out when I feel like it." Her words hurt me deeply. I felt humiliated and went to the living room, thinking I would talk to her later. That night, my parents were out, and it was just the two of us at home. I fell asleep on the couch, waiting for her to come out so I could talk to her. I don't know what happened, but I woke up tied up, with tape over my mouth. I thought a burglar had broken in and was worried about my sister. I tried to scream and call for her, but no sound came out. When I opened my eyes, I saw the door locked from the inside and heard someone coming. The shock was that it was my sister, but she was a completely different person. She was dressed in black and looked at me with evil eyes. At that moment, I realized she was the one who had tied me up. But why? She laughed ominously and said, "I know you're trying to stop me, but you can't. I found a way from the dark web, a satanic cult that will give me supernatural powers and eternal life. But I have to give up my human body and end my life." I couldn't comprehend what she was saying. I wanted to scream and tell her she was talking nonsense, but I couldn't. Lara shocked me even more. I kept screaming and struggling to free myself to stop her from doing what she intended, but I couldn't. She said, "Don't worry, sister. I won't die. I'll just transition from one dimension to another and become stronger." I felt she had either gone mad or been possessed by a demon. Her eyes moved erratically, and she had a terrifying smile. The unimaginable happened. I witnessed her die in front of my eyes, and I couldn't do anything to help her. I kept crying until I fainted. When I woke up, my parents had arrived, the police were there, and they took my sister's body out. To this day, I can't forget what happened. I had a psychological breakdown. My sister destroyed herself and our lives. Please keep an eye on your children and siblings and what they're doing online. Never even think about entering the dark web out of curiosity because it's extremely dangerous and real. Many incidents have happened because of it, even in our Arab world. Take care of yourselves.